Hey guys, so I'm back with another video doing the quick check for the 5-3E multiplying decimals that you did yesterday. So you need to have out this quick check page, a colored pencil, and your you should have gotten this from the back where the folders are at. This is your second 6 weeks data tracker, so you should be looking at the one that says 5-3E, which is decimal multiplication, which is this. So see how they're the same, it just has the words written differently. So this is obviously checkpoint number 1. And so we did multiplying decimals the last couple of days, so I'm going to go ahead and get started on this. Now remember, if you miss one question, then you get a 2. If you miss 2 questions, you get a 1. And if you miss 3 questions, then you also get a 1. But if you get all 3 of them correct, then you make a 3. So let's get started. So my first question is asking me, how much do the 12 watermelons cost? So I should have bucks on here somewhere. I'm looking for the 12 watermelons and their costs. It says Caden bought 12 watermelons for $2.25 each, and he wrote the expression below to help him find out how much the 12 watermelons cost. So I don't see any trash here. In my strategy, it looks like, obviously, I'm multiplying with decimals, so obviously my operation is going to be multiply here. So I can answer this question in 2 different ways. One way, I know I have to multiply 12 watermelons because he bought 12 watermelons, and each of them cost $2.25. I can either solve this right here. Do you see how it says 12 times 2 plus 12 times 25 hundredths? And I have a decimal here that shouldn't be there, so sorry, just ignore that. So what this really is, they just broke it down to 12 here times $2, and then 12 times 25 cents, and then you'll add up the total. So if you do it that way, I'm just going to write it up here. So if you do, you know 12 times 2 is 24. Then when we multiply with decimals, we have to remember that it has to go against the wall. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just make my wall right here, and you have space obviously to write this. Make my wall right here, and the number with the most digits goes on top. So this one has 1, 2, 3 digits, and this one has 1, 2. So this is going to go on top against the wall, and then 12 is going to go below it, and then my strategy is going to be up, across, X, X, O, across, up, across, add. So 5 times 2 is 10, carry the 1, 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5, 2 times 0 is 0, X, X, O. 1 times 5 is 5, 1 times 2 is 2, 1 times 0 is 0. Let's add that up. We get 0, 0, 1, 3, 0. So I'm going to go up here, count my eggs. So I've got 1, 2. Now the whole number 12 doesn't have any eggs, so I'm just going to bring my 2 down here, and I'm going to count 1, 2. So my answer here is $3. So I've got to add $3 to the 12 times 24, and you can do that, or you have another option, and that answer would give you 27. Okay. Or your other option is to multiply 12 times $2.25 exactly how it's written. So I'm going to go ahead and erase this, and I'm going to do it exactly how it's written. So I'm going to do $2.25 because that has the most digits, and I'm going to multiply that by 12. So here we do 5 times 2 is 10, carry the 1, 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5, 2 times 2 is 4, X, X, O, because I'm following the steps that I still have down here. 1 times 5 is 5, 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 1 is 2 again. So I'm going to add that up. We get 0, 0, carry the 1, that's 6, 7, and then bring down your 2. So let me write that in a different color. So I'm going to go up here, count my eggs. So I've got 1, 2. Remember, I started the wall, so I'm going to count 1, 2, 12 of the whole number. It doesn't have any decimals, so I'm just going to bring my 2 down, and I'm going to start 1, 2, place your decimal, and you get the same thing, $27. So you could have done it either way. Both ways are correct, and it'll get you the same answer. It's just whatever you prefer. So now you know how to multiply your decimal by a whole number. If it's a whole number, it doesn't have a decimal, and so you're not going to have any eggs there to count. So your answer here should have been 27 if you got it right. Leave it alone. If you got it wrong, put an X. All right, moving on to number 2. So number 2, the question says, how many points did Marcelo score in those 20 games? So Marcelo's playing something to score points. So we're looking for 20 games and how many points he scored. So it says Marcelo scored 3 7/75 points per game in the 20 basketball games he played last year. So how many did he score total? So obviously my strategy here is to multiply. I'm going to do 3 7/75 times 20. So like I said, again, the number with the most digits, meaning this has 1, 2, 3 digits, and this has 1, 2. The number with the most digits goes on top. So you'll have 3 7/75 against the wall times 20. And then I'll write my strategy up, across, across, X, X, O, across, up, across, add. So 0 times 5 is 0, 0 times 7 is 0, and 0 times 3 is 0, X, O. 2 times 5 is 10, carry the 1. 7 times 2 is 14, plus 1 makes 15. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 makes 7. So add that up, and we get 75. So then I've got to go up here and count my eggs. I've got 1, 2. I have a whole number, so I don't have to count any eggs there because there's no decimal. So I'm going to put 2 here, bring it down, and I'm going to count 1, 2, place my decimal. So Marcelo scored 75 points in those 20 games that he played. Okay, so if you got it right, leave it alone. If you got it wrong, put an X. All right, last question. Sorry, I'm yawning, you guys. It is 8:04 p.m. and I just put the baby down to sleep, and mommy is ready for bed herself. So it says, finish shading the model to represent 6/10 times 3/10 and then solve. Okay? So I'm obviously multiplying. All right, so I've got to do 6/10 times 3/10. Now I'm just going to go ahead and write this just so I have it for myself. So I have 6/10 times 3/10 lined up against the wall. I'm going to have this one going horizontal and this one, here, let me not put it there. This is going to go horizontal and this will go vertical. So let's go ahead and do this. So I've got to do 1, let me not use that. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that represents 6/10, okay? Then I've got to do times 3/10. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3/10. And then where it overlaps is right here. So I've got 6/10 here, and 3/10 here. Now, y'all, my fact family that I know is 6 times 3. I know 6 times 3 is 18, so I'm going to count in here, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and each one of these squares is worth 100. So my total should be 18. My product should be 18 hundredths. This is your product here. And if you want to do the math, you're more than welcome to. Your strategy is going to be up, across, X, X, O, across, up, add. Okay? So 3 times 6 is 8. Carry the 1. 3 times 0 is 3. 3 times 0 is 0 plus 1 makes 1. X, X, O. 0 times 6 is 0. 0 times 0 is 0. Add it up. We get 8, 1, 0. I've got 1 egg here. And then another egg here, which makes 2 total. So I'm going to bring it down. I'm going to count 1, 2. Place your decimal, and it matches. So this is how you're going to do this. If you got all 3 of them correct, then you will shade in the 3 because you have mastered this content. Okay, you will shade in a 3 if you got all 3 correct. If you missed one, you're going to shade in a 2 because you have met the level. So you're where you should be, but we can get you better. If you only got 1 right or 0 right, you are at 1, which is approaches, meaning you need to go sign up to come visit me on Friday to practice some more on multiplying with decimals, okay? I know we just learned this concept, but it's a very easy concept because we know how to multiply. We're just adding a decimal, so I think the hardest part for us is to remember to add those, to count those eggs. So please remember to do that correctly, okay? So remember, you should have your checkpoint number 1 shaded. I got all 3 right, so I'm gonna give myself a 3. Now, it does no good for you to cheat because it doesn't help anybody, so don't be the cheater. Remember, you should have done this in colored pencil. If I don't see the corrections in colored pencil, I'm just gonna throw the paper away because that's not how we work. I'm going to record your grade because this will be going in the grade book, so I hope you did your very best.